can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right, yeah. I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right, yeah. I can only say that it feels right. Going with the gut, never had a doubt, felt like this is just a must. Put me in perspective, I'm the deepest in the cut. Everybody tuning in, but this is just for us now. We know I ain't ballin' yet, hoes wanna holler, oh no, I don't call them back. Girl, let me see you hold it down, we gon' have a blast. Cause I just wanna know what you gonna do with all of that. Ain't gotta say a word, I know what's up. You can have it all, watch me rip it off. I'll admit it, you got me feeling hella love. Even when it's going down, know that we gon' live it up. Young shot caller, always been a baller. Know that you the one, I can feel it in my heart, yeah. I won't stop charging, we going come harder. I can see you and I, way beyond the stars, girl. I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. It feels right.
Well, try this again, shall we? Good morning, folks. Happy Sunday. Looks like Facebook has done quite a bit of work on their live streaming interface. Um, Looks kind of nice, I think. Let's see. All right. um, Everybody, kind of say good morning if you can. I want to be sure that I can see the feed because I know a couple of times we've done these and the feed has screwed up. So if people are posting and I don't see it, you guys that have me on Google IM, please let me know because I want to be able to see and hear what you're saying. Hey, nice haircut. Dave says nice haircut. Um, I haven't had a haircut in quite a while. And yes, so it does look like I'm able to see what you're writing. Debbie says, good morning, stroke afternoon. Yeah, they're 6 hours ahead of us. So let's get on with it, shall we? What is our topic? Well, our topic is trying to follow any one path while under the influence. We can thank Lorna for this. She is a member of the HOP. She also watches periodically the recorded broadcast. And she did request this some weeks ago. Unfortunately, last week, as you know, I was a little under the weather. Put me under the covers till about 2 o'clock on the Sunday. But, you know, hard to keep an old guy down. We don't bounce back as quick as we used to, but, we do bounce, or well, we thud, but we get up a little slower. There you go. So what is it to follow any one particular path while under the influence? Well, under the influence of what? Well, let's think about it. There are so many people, not just in Texas or America or the UK or um, but the world over. There are so many people that because of the types of foods we eat, because of the types of drinks that we consume, steroids and what have you in the foods, most of us live in daily pain. Some much more worse than others. And so quite a few are on pain medications. We'll start with that. Some have turned to alcohol to help with their pain. Um, Alcohol really doesn't help with pain, it increases it when you sober up, along with the pains of drinking too much alcohol. The problem with chemical pain medications, as we all know, the more you take, the more your body needs to achieve the same situation in most cases. Well, then of course there's the what we call drugs, right? The illegal drugs, the drugs that people take to escape. I'm not going to pick on marijuana, right? But when you're thinking about crack, cocaine, You're thinking about all of the derivatives of crack, everything from crank to all types of barbiturates and chemical split or chemical derivatives of crack, crank, whatever. Speed, acid, quaaludes, on and on and on. Well, when you have people out there that are addicted to these medications, to alcohol, to illegal drugs, to things that are mind altering chemicals, addiction itself is really, really nasty. Any kind of addiction can be nasty, life threatening, life changing, family destroying, what have you. But when you're trying to follow a particular spiritual path while under the influence, it really actually makes it just almost impossible to be able to truly follow a spiritual path while under the influence. And a lot of people have come to me through the years and they're like, why can't I be stoned and be spiritual? Why can't I be drunk and be spiritual? Well, that's kind of a two-part question. Trying to be drunk or stoned and be spiritual is kind of a misnomer. And then I have people tell me, "Oh, I do fine. I can hit my speed and suck my quaaludes down and smoke my crack and stand in circle and cast energy with the best of them." No, you can't. I've seen many, many try over the years. We had a real simple rule in our circle, and we still do. If you're going to stand in circle with me, my family, with the other members of circle, you're going to be sober. Now, if you smoked pot a couple of nights ago, that's fine. If you pulled on a big alcohol bender a couple of nights ago, that's fine. Um, Even people the night before ritual have gotten commode hugging, snot slinging drunk and come to circle the next day to do Sabbath the next evening. Slightly hungover, they are, and they still got out in the circle and they helped prepare it, get it ready, most of them. Some of them sit on the sidelines and whined and whimpered. Well, it was your dumb ass that got out and got drunk or stoned off your patootie. You're in circle now. Either get it together or get it out. I don't care, you know. And people ask me, they're like, "Don, how can you be so coy about all of this?" Well, I'm 55 years old. I've been around the block a couple of times, and I've dealt with quite a few addicts. I am a recovered addict myself. People say, "You can't be recovered, you're always recovering." Well, that's not true. I am a recovered alcoholic. I am a recovered drug addict. I don't drink because I don't like it anymore. I don't like the way I feel when I drink. I quit smoking pot, doing speed and acid and quaaludes back in the 80s because I didn't like the effect it had on me or my life. Now, this is not a beat down on those of you that are doing drugs. It's your life. If you want to destroy it, you go right ahead. My personal opinion of marijuana is kind of like alcohol. Done correctly, used correctly, in a correct way, it can be beneficial. Okay? But when you're trying to follow a particular path, whether it be witchcraft, shamanism, druid, fae, um, Asatru, Nordic, most of your Nordic traditions, all of your Nordic traditions. My question is, do you really think it's fair to go before the gods, drunk or stoned, off of your butt? Well, following a path while inebriated, under the influence, you can't focus. That's been proven too many times. It's not just the old fuzzy one sitting here going, waggling my finger at you. You do what you want to. In my circle, you don't do what you want to. In your circle, you can do whatever the hell you think you want to. It's not my karma. So how about that? The newcomers that are checking in to paganism to see what it's all about, how we work, I can tell you that most practitioners that I know and have known through the years do not allow their parishioners to practice in circle while inebriated or under the influence. Now, in retrospect, before people start throwing me under the bus and dragging me by chains behind a horse somewhere, there are shamanic groves that do enforce the use of hallucinogens, peyote, peyote, pot, whatever, when they're doing Vision Quest. Well, Vision Quest is different than doing circle. I personally do not condone or recommend hallucinogens during Vision Quest. That's a topic for a different channel. But as a pagan minister, which is what I am on this channel, I have seen too many people screw up too much by attempting to follow a spiritualism or a path or an oath to a path while under the influence. It quite simply doesn't work. Dave says, I'm never under the influence. Don't like it. True. Absolutely. I guess you could say the strongest chemical I do is glycol and glycerin, about 5.5 to 6.1% nicotine by volume. Caffeine. Caffeine. Yeah. But I can drink caffeine and I can partake of vape and I can put all of my sugar and creamer and what have you in my coffee. And I can still answer calls at work responsibly. I can responsibly drive an automobile. I can operate heavy equipment under the influence of coffee, Dr. Pepper, or what have you. Now, some smartass is going to jump up and say, well, what about speed and yellow jackets and black mollies and what have you? That's caffeine. What about diet pills and energy pills and... Come on, people. Get a grip, okay? I mean, you guys would not want to see me trying to do Open Pagan Church on speed, Yellow Jacket, or Black Mollies. Yellow Mollies. Been a while. Black Mollies? Yellow Mollies. Hell, I don't remember. That was in the 80s. That was a lifetime ago. Within reason. Come on. Granted, and I will admit, this is the year 2017. Or, well, the backside of 2017. Common sense is not very common. It really isn't. So, how do you do it? Has anybody figured out yet? You don't? I have never known anyone in 20 something years of practice that could effectively do a spiritual path under oath, following a tradition, following an oath to a tradition, while under the influence, and do it well. There was a time where I simply would not take long distance students. I typically still don't. There are those special occasions where I do. My personal students, personal meaning face to face students, people that I teach in circle, in person, one on one. There are no hallucinogens. If you drink within reason. If you get drunk and embarrass the grove, you're out. If you're doing illegal drugs, you're out. Now, this is the grove, not the church. Okay? Open Pagan Church doesn't have a stand, a tradition, an oath of any kind. We are a gathering place, a place where people can come and chat and share wisdom and ideas and thoughts and philosophies. If you step into my circle, if I'm calling circle of a Sabbath, and you're stoned, drunk, on illegal drugs, and it's obvious, you're out. Bicycle. But that's my circle. That's the way I run my circle. I say again, the church, if you want to sit here during Open Pagan Church and smoke your weed and pop your smoke your weed and smoke your crack and drink your alcohol or do whatever you want to do and whatever it is you do at home, more power to you. Rock and roll. It's your house. Do what the hell you want to. I'm not going to condemn you for it. If you start posting smack or crap in the chat for people that want to listen, myself or one of my admins will boot you. Seems kind of coy and helpful or hateful, doesn't it? But not at all. The question was, how can you follow one spiritual path under the influence? Simple answer, you can't. Too many people have proven it. I'm not going to call out any names. I'm not going to make any suggestions as to any one person I'm talking about because it doesn't matter. I'm just going to tell you it's been proven. You can't. In Christian church, in a Muslim mosque, in a Jewish synagogue, and in a pagan church. If you go to accompany or attend and you are under the influence, 99.9% of people will show their ass. It just happens. I've never seen a church event or circle event or Sabbath event where people that showed up under the influence of something didn't show their ass in one way, shape, form, or fashion. That's disrespectful. And it's not just to me. I'm quite sure that I'll say 99.9% of the watchers of the video will say it's disrespectful. The question is, how can you? The answer is, you can't. So that being said, I spent almost 30 minutes saying you can't. I'm not telling you you can't. It's just a fact. You can't. If you go to circle or church of any kind, church, synagogue, whatever, of any kind, under the influence, number one, you're not going to hear what they have to say. Number two, you're not going to learn anything. The things that you hear, you're going to hear incorrectly. Having been someone who attended a church once, drunk off of my ass, the only thing I heard was sounded like the Charlie Brown teacher. How are you going to learn anything? You're not. So you're going to end up saying something that's going to embarrass you and your friends and other people and get booted. So you can't. The chat room is entirely too quiet. Somebody say something. Yep. There we go. Dave said something. Thank you, Dave. I can always depend on Dave to say something. Absolutely. But that also tells me I'm running about a 30 to 45 second delay. So, Camille says being under the influence can skew the messages you get from your guides too. Absolutely. So, and I was just fixing to ask. I want to light the fire under some of you, and those of you that are watching the live presentation, and those of you that watch the pre-recorded version, post in the chat area. And if you're watching it on the YouTube archives, I want to see your post under YouTube as well. If you're watching it under Pinterest or Stumble Upon or other groups that web pages that we post on. I want to see your comments to this question. Good, bad, or indifferent. What is your opinion? Yep, I'm asking, what is your opinion of people that attempt to follow a single path under the influence of anything? If you're taking pain meds and you're not stoned out of your mind, I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about if you're trying to attend meetings, gatherings, circles, Sabbaths, whatever, while under the influence. What is your opinion of these activities? And I want to give everybody a minute or two to post these. So I'm going to be kind of quiet for a moment. Okay, so let's see what we've said. I've already read Camille's post. Dave says, being under the influence when going between is very disrespectful in all respects. Um, they'll hurt themselves. I, I agree with Debbie. They're perfectly entitled to try. It's all down to free will. But it won't be a positive outcome. Debbie says, personally, I found trying to be spiritual while taking antidepressants was hard enough. Oh boy. Yeah, antidepressants are pretty tough. Any antipsychotic, antidepressants, bipolar meds. Now, in retrospect on that, I have had people in circle that were on antidepressants and bipolar meds. Most, not all, but most, handled it okay. Dave says they will only hurt themselves under magnifying glasses. Yes. So, there will be those that practice their path under the influence of something. I have never used a hallucinogen of any kind to go through Vision Quest. I've never used a hallucinogen of any kind to do astral. are to do OBE. And if you want to know what those are, search Facebook for Live with the Shaman. I have an entire series of them over on the Live with the Shaman Facebook page. And I've done a lot of videos and broadcasts on shamanism and hallucinogens, shamanism and drugs, and what have you. This entire situation of trying to be spiritual while under the influence has always had a very close and painful meaning for me personally as a pagan minister, because I've seen more than my fair share of practitioners, brothers and sisters, longtime friends, part ways because I refuse to allow them to be in circle, in grove, or in any Sabbath under the influence. They would rather part the friendship than not be under the influence. I've lost some really good students that had some really good potential who would rather be under the influence than learn a spiritual way to get off of the influence of chemicals. And I'm perfectly fine. Not that you need my permission. But for those who only seek vision quest while under the influence of peyote, marijuana, any of the other old hallucinogens to help relax the mind and the body so that they think they can achieve spiritual travel, whether it's OBE or astral. We convince ourselves, and for those of you that are watching the live presentation and the recorded or archived presentations, listen to this next part, if you will, please, real close. We convince ourselves the need for these influential chemicals. I'm the same way with my vape. I used to be the same way with my cigarettes. And prior to that, back in the late 70s and 80s, I convinced myself I needed alcohol to cope. I convinced myself I needed pot and speed, uppers and downers, to cope. I convinced myself I needed uppers to get up in the morning and downers to sleep at night. I convinced myself I needed these products. I convinced myself that I need caffeine to function in the morning. Well, seldom do I drink coffee on the weekends unless, we're doing something special at my parents' and we're sitting around and Mom makes coffee. Of course, I'm not going to turn down a cup of coffee. But I've kind of gotten to where I don't see any sense in making an entire pot of coffee at home when I'm going to drink 1 or 2 cups in the morning and 1 or 2 cups on Sunday, and then I end up pouring out a boatload of coffee on Sunday evening. So I end up wasting more than I actually drink. And I don't like waste. So I've kind of more or less gotten to where um, I just do my Dr. Pepper. And like yesterday, I got up, I took my meds, I took my vitamins. We got dressed, we ate breakfast, we got out, got my Dr. Pepper, water, and we got on the roof of our up and coming new house. Right now, the moms will be moving in with them at the end of December. And got on the roof and got busy. Had to replace 2 air vents on the roof, major leaks. That's 3 air vents we've had to replace. I didn't have coffee to function. I was a little slow getting started, but that's me more than anything. We convince ourselves first we need these medications, or not medications. Let me rephrase that. We convince ourselves we need these drugs. Marijuana has unbelievable medicinal properties, amazing medicinal properties. Alcohol, done correctly in the right aspect, has amazing medicinal properties. The coca plant, the plant that they use to chemically alter to make crack cocaine. The coca plant by itself has amazing medicinal properties. So you see, there are things out there that the mother has given us. The coffee bean, right? That has amazing medicinal properties. The problem is when humans get a hold of it, they want to chemically alter it to make it stronger, to make it more potent, to give it more of a kick. And it's that which causes the problem. Human beings take something that the mother gives us, which works perfect, and they want to chemically alter it to make it stronger so they can make more money on it, so they can sell more of it, so they can make more money on it. Well, you know, Dave kind of makes a point, but I want to expound on his point for just a bit. He makes a point: if one needs influence chemicals, then they don't need the spiritual gain they seek. Agree, stroke disagree. What I wish would happen, I'm not casting magic, I'm just saying what I wish would happen, is that people that are under the influence, that their spirit guides would kick in and make it harder on them, to help them realize you don't need chemical alterations to be spiritual. You don't need to be under the influence to be spiritual. And white rabbit. You're alright till you see the pink rabbit with purple polka dots jumping up and down beside a truck that you're driving at 60 miles an hour, and this rabbit's keeping up with you, but that's a story for another day. So I think that if spirit guides become more involved, I feel like over time, maybe, people would listen. Maybe. Some. Some would. Some would. Some wouldn't. There are some of those that are so far gone you may or may not can do anything with. I have unfortunately known several of those. But when you're trying to do and stay focused on a spiritual path, you need your senses about you. And I want to spend the last part of the broadcast talking about some of the alternatives for dealing with chronic pain and spirituality. Because I can attest, and so can quite a few others, I can attest to how difficult it is to maintain a focal concentration on meditation, astral, OBE, and even meditating to spirit guides to see or feel or find what needs to be done. If you're in chronic pain, the pain the pain gets into everything. It gets into your sleep. It gets into your ability to function on a daily basis. It gets into your ability to meditate, to travel, to OBE. It gets in your ability to do everything. I deal with certain forms of chronic pain, and even mine are nowhere near as bad as many of you out there that I know. There are a number of you that function on a daily basis that just kind of push through the chronic pain with medications to help. I recommend, now, I'm not a physician, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a certified psychiatrist or psychologist. What I'm coming from here is with 40 something years of working with people, listening to people, helping them through their troubles, being a listener, being someone who can empathize without sympathizing, and coming up with some relatively decent ideas for getting past it. But there are alternative methods. I'm not going to tell anyone to stop taking your medication. That's between you and your doctor. But I do recommend that you discuss with your doctor, that you try things. Acupuncture has been known to be an amazing assistant with fibromyalgia, with other forms of chronic pain. Acupressure is a form of massage where they put certain pressure on certain parts of the body to help relieve that pain. Deep tissue and light tissue massage. Me personally, I can't handle deep tissue massage. There's just no way. But light tissue massage really helps my muscles relax so that they don't knot up and tense up like they usually do. Now, unfortunately, my teeth pain and my mouth pain, I've tried acupressure or acupuncture, and it didn't work. Unfortunately, the oral tooth pain medications that are out, they they screw with your psyche to the point and they really don't help the pain. And Dave makes a good point. He says if one has chronic pain and has to be under the influence, I don't think the guides hold it against us. I tend to agree with you. I tend to agree with you on that, within reason. When you're in chronic pain, there is a point in which you reach the cap of the chronic pain that the medication is going to help. And some will take more, thinking that it's going to help more, when in reality, it doesn't. In reality, some of your medications, the more you take, the more inebriated you become, but the less help the medication truly gives for the pain. I know many that use cannabis, pot, Mary Jane, 420, whatever the hell you want to call it, for chronic pain. It works. It just works. I haven't tried it because it's illegal here in Texas, and quite frankly, I can't afford to lose my job, my home, my family. It's not worth it. People that have Crohn's disease, that's it, Crohn's disease. Cannabis has really been known to help with Crohn's disease. However, you don't have to get stoned to use cannabis. And Michelle pops in with my disease can be chronic. I do smoke pot ever so often, so I can eat. Yeah, absolutely. Can't afford to lose weight. Don't feed it right. Feeding tube. Yeah. So, I mean, this person is one of those individuals that uses cannabis to be able to eat so that the stomach doesn't reject it because of the chronic pain and chronic illnesses that go with it. So the point to the whole broadcast is this. One, you can't stay focused on a path. No matter what your religion is, no matter what your spiritual path is, no matter what your belief is. The fact is, and people have proven it over the years, the fact is you cannot stay focused on a single path in a single religion and learn what you need to learn spiritually under the influence or inebriated. You can't. It's not going to happen. It just can't happen. It never has and it never will. I've heard people tell me, oh, by getting stoned, I have super focus. I have pinpoint focus. Okay. So tell me, what did you learn the last time you were in circle while you were stoned? Uh, I don't know. But you have needle focus when you're stoned. What'd you learn? What's the last thing you learned from your teacher? And I've done this to some of my students that have attempted to talk to me while they're under the influence. I'll wait a couple of days and come back and go, I know you were smoking pot the other day, like you were stoned out of your gourd. What did we talk about? We talked the other day? Yes, we did. You even sent me an email. I did. I forwarded their email back to them, and it makes about as much sense as listening to Charlie Brown's teacher. You can't. Not because I'm telling you you can't, but because it's been proven that you can't follow a particular path while under the influence and inebriated. Now, if you're using cannabis to assist with your illness and you're using it responsibly, more power to you. If you're using alcohol responsibly to relax the muscles and relax the joints, and you're using it within reason to not inebriate you, more power to you. Same goes with any drug. Same goes with any drug whatsoever. I say again, the question was asked. The purpose for this particular broadcast. The question was asked. Following any one path while under the influence. Facts have been proven time and time and time again with the amount of students that I have lost alone over the years because of influential chemicals is proof within itself. So if you're watching this video, my recommendation for you is if you're hooked on illegal drugs, you need help. You're not doing yourself or anyone else any good. If you're using particular herbs, okay? If you're using particular herbs for medicinal purposes, get on board with the fight to legalize medicinal use. And I mean, it's even fine for recreational use within reason. Just don't effing smoke a doober and then try to go into circle, you fool. That was a personal opinion, by the way. Right. Well, I did a public announcement right before church this morning. We are moving this month of December 2017. We are moving, so if I'm not here, I will try to post something to let you guys know that I'm not going to be here, because it's all my servers are down and moved, but my personal PCs and stuff like that I use for these broadcasts and my desk, I will hopefully move throughout the week this next week and get some of this stuff over into the new office. I will hope to be ready next weekend for broadcast Sunday. Again, hey, thank you, Lorna, for the idea for the post. Hit me up, man. Shoot me PMs for up and coming ideas. I want to really have the year planned out for 2018 for Open Pagan Church. Some of our topics we might recover with new ideas, hopefully. Hopefully we get more interaction. I would love to see opinions, thoughts, and ideas in the chat area. Thank you for watching Open Pagan Church. Hope you have a really wonderful day, and we'll see you next time right here.